Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about the 3 layers of narrative that you need to be conscious of, that you need to be able to handle, that you need to be able to layer, that you need to be able to control in your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, okay? And the last one is new. We have not talked about this previously. I don't think anybody's talking about this. It's a new Scott Garibay understanding of Dungeons & Dragons, and you're going to need to be able to manage this as we proceed forward. Okay. All right. So first of all, spoilers in the for the Glass Onion. Knives out in this content. All right. So a lot of ideas percolate right before they condense. Right. So I think very deeply about Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons is it is a platform for life, for understanding life, okay? In 1974, Gary Gygax cracked the earth in half and said, narrative changes now, history changes now, knowledge changes now, everything changes now. Human intellect branches. The evolution of human intellect branches. Everything before was before, everything now goes forward with a multiplier, right? And the reality is, there's 2 types of humans now. There's manifold sentience, like you and me, people who have 100 sets of memory, 100 sets of sensory experiences, 100 sets of emotions, 100 identities, right? And then there's these humans who live one life with one identity and never experience world building or world travel. They're trapped in one life. They're trapped in one narrative. They're trapped in mereness. They have a meek, mere existence. If you start experiencing Dungeons & Dragons, you change. Everyone around you changes. The world changes. You are a world creator. You are a world experiencer. You will never be the same. The people around you will never be the same unless you get stuck with some pitiable dungeon master who thinks Dungeons & Dragons is about cutting goblins in half. Right? But if you on this channel, you know where you need to be. You know where you need to head. You know what you need to embrace in Gary's legacy. Right? All right. So check this out. So I was watching Glass Onion, and it click, right? This understanding had been percolating in my head for a while, right? You and I are dungeon masters. You understand core narrative. You understand core narrative. You understand meta narrative. I'll define them through Glass Onion very quickly. Core narrative of Glass Onion, a mystery that needs to be solved. Benoit Blanc is solving a mystery. The meta-narrative of Glass Onion. What is the meta-narrative? The meta-narrative is that American society would rather listen to a fool white man than a brilliant black woman, right? And Andy in the film dies because every one of her friends is more willing to connect their future to a fool white man that the American system will embrace than they will a genius black woman who the American system, even in 2022, is far more than likely to work against every step of the way, right? So that's the meta-narrative. It's clear, it's concise, it's there, and in my humble opinion, it's absolutely intentional, right? Now let's talk about the assigned narrative. Glass Onion has an assigned narrative, okay? So the other night, so I saw Glass Onion a month ago in the theaters because I'm a baller American who goes to the theater, right? The rest of my family, they're like, I ain't going to the theater, right? So I saw it by myself, right? And the rest of my family, oh, excuse me, sorry. They waited, right? And they watched it on Netflix when it dropped on Christmas Eve, right? So it drops on Christmas Eve. We all watch it on Christmas Eve, okay? Actually, I'm sorry. We watched it on December 23rd. So 2 days before Christmas, right? And we had a friend over and we had a dog over. So as a big group, we all watch it together, right? At the end, in the film, the Mona Lisa burns, right? And Ed Norton's character, Milo Braun, okay? So Milo, this fool white billionaire, right? This fool white man, he ends up being responsible for literally burning the Mona Lisa, right? And when he sees the Mona Lisa burning, he stands in front of it, and Ned Norton, who's one of my favorite actors, I think only Ryan Gosling is ahead of him in my opinion. So he sees the Mona Lisa burning, and he holds his hands up to his face, and the camera comes right in on his face, and he holds his hands up to his cheeks, and he closes one eye. It's very, very specific, and he looks like, and he screams, and his face and his hands and everything on the screen matches the painting, the screen, right? Now this is brilliant, right? But I didn't see it the first time I saw the movie. I'm watching the movie with my whole family, and my wife, who's smarter than me, sees this, and she says, "Oh, look, the screen," right? And I was like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Yeah, look. Like he's in the position of the screen, the famous painting." And I couldn't believe it. She was 100% right? I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's incredible." So we finished the movie, and I was like, "That's really something." I didn't see that they intentionally put the screen there, and and put Ed Norton in the position of the screen. I wonder if Ed Norton did that, or if the director did that. But clearly, the point is that great art is built on a foundation of great art, right? And that the Mona Lisa was a foundational influence so that the screen could be created. And my wife says, "That's not what that means." And I was like, "What do you think it means?" She said, "It doesn't mean anything. It's coincidence, right? It's just, it was just a coincidence. There wasn't anything being said there, right?" So for her, the assigned narrative is nothing, right? But for me, I think she's wrong. I think it was incredibly intentional, and there was an assign. And so I think that the creator meant to say, okay, they meant to say, great art is foundational to great art, right? Great art is a building block for more great art, right? And that passion and dedication and excellence serves as a foundation for other artists to come and be passionate and dedicated and put additional great art into the world, right? Now here's the kicker, right? So I think a lot of people would say that's not an assigned narrative. We can just go to the creator and ask them what it meant. In fact, I get a lot of people who are like, "Hey, why don't you go ask the person who said that what they meant?" And here's why. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You never go to the creator, right? And the reason why is you can't trust him. First of all, you can't trust him from 100 different directions. The creators can never define their own art. The world does not understand this. The world desperately needs to understand this. Creators cannot define their art. Here's why. So first of all, I listen to Grace Randolph. She's the smartest movie reviewer in the world. She says constantly, right? She says it constantly. She's like, I get frustrated with my viewers. She says it nicer than that. She's like, sometimes I'm a little surprised at my viewers. Hollywood celebrities, Hollywood producers, Hollywood financiers say things and people believe them. 90% of the things that come out of Hollywood people's mouths are not true. They're protecting bonuses. They're projecting something they think is going to be real but don't know if it's going to be real. They're covering up for mistakes. But there's marketing talk, there's hope, and there's just flat out lies, right? So if you ask this creator, if they didn't intend it, they can say, "Oh yeah, of course I'm smart enough to have meant that was the screen," right? So you can't trust them. In addition to that, these artists are incredibly complicated people, right? They have deep emotion. They have deep subconscious streams of brilliance in them. They don't even understand themselves, right? So they don't even understand everything that they're putting into their art. The best example of this is Tolkien actually told people, I was in World War II, it didn't affect Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is not an allegory for World War II. Complete bunk. No academic in the world believes it, right? Because they're like, he doesn't understand himself, right? And I agree with this. Creators don't understand themselves, right? So here's the kicker. There's now an assigned narrative. Okay? What is the core narrative is mystery being solved. The meta-narrative is in America, people by and large will line up to trust a fool white man over a genius black woman, right? Even in 2022. I think that's true. I think that's absolutely true. We just watched it, right? The SBF crypto thing. You know, this fool white man just and he wasn't being fool is not the same as being an idiot, okay? He was unwise. He wasn't unintelligent. But SBF, he scammed billions. A lot of people think he walked away with like $5 billion, right? And he got it cut off on bail in $250 million, right? Like, we just literally watched a fool white man, you know, proceed forward while genius black women are surpassed, right? The meta-narrative is clear as day, right? But the assigned narrative is that great art begets great art. Great art serves as a foundation for additional great art, right? And also you can't build crap art on top of great art, right? Like, actually, you can't build great art on top of crap art. So that is the assigned narrative. That is me assigning it to Glass Onion, right? And why is the assigned narrative important? Okay? Well, in the regular world, the assigned narrative is important because sometimes, especially today where the experiencer is more important than ever, you have the creator, you have the experience in traditional media, right? And the assigned narrative. There are people assigning narrative for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, right? And the assigned narrative, I think, was even stronger than the actual meta-narrative, right? So, and now, in the regular world, it's just there, and sometimes the assigned narrative, especially if it reaches 51%, if there's a 51% assigned narrative, it can actually overtake the meta-narrative, and it can become more important than the meta-narrative, okay? But one of the things in Dungeon Mastering is we actually have an ability, because of the structure of Dungeon Mastering, to make the assigned narrative the new meta-narrative. At any time, if we understand and are watching for the assigned narrative, we can replace our own meta-narrative with the assigned narrative if it's better than our meta-narrative. This is not possible in traditional media because stories aren't told in this new, incredibly hyper-modern human narrative engine, which is Dungeons & Dragons. If you're stuck with some antiquated junk like message platform, like novels and film, like big screen and small screen, and novels, which are antiquated storytelling devices, right? Which can't be adjusted second by second, sentence by sentence, the way a Dungeons & Dragons campaign campaign can be done session by session, hour by hour, minute by minute, literally word by word, right? We have the ability, if we are watching, if we have complete understanding of the core narrative, the meta-narrative, and the assigned narrative, we can actually swap both the core, we can swap and or, right? We can swap the core narrative for the assigned narrative. We can swap the meta-narrative for the assigned narrative. That's the importance of the assigned narrative to every Dungeon Master. It's critically important to understand, right? We are the cutting edge of human narrative on Dungeons & Dragons. What we are doing is more important than any filmmaker, more important than any novelist, right? And we impact lives by understanding the core narrative, the meta-narrative, and now, because I've told you how to do it, how to watch for it, how to acknowledge it, how to use it, how to leverage it, how to swap it, the assigned narrative. All that is my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.